So folks, Rugby League, after a very, very highly touted and very successful weekend in Las Vegas, we get the figures through today. Now, they're saying they've had a fantastic weekend in RL. The figures throughout the game in Britain over the weekend have been great. They're saying the viewing figures for the big spectacle in Vegas was fantastic. And the crowd numbers have come out today. I think they said for the day, I think they got about 45,000 throughout the 4 games. They were pleased with it as it was up 5,000 on the past year. Last year was its first ever year. This year was the first year that the Brits turned up. Now, I had heard pre-game that about 11,000 tickets have been sold to Wigan and the Wire fans. And I've also heard there was representation from virtually every club that plays Rugby League in Great Britain. So there'll be a few pockets here and there. People took it as a celebration of British Rugby League and went over to watch it. And the crowd was very good, they were very vocal, it was great. But I heard before the game that I think the stadium took about 65,000, I think I heard. Maybe I'm wrong, it might even be more. But I know they were open for 60. And I thought, well, they're going to get big numbers for this, there's no doubt about it. It's its second year, loads of Brits have gone. It's been publicised to death, you know, it's done really, really well. I thought it was going to be a bumper crowd, and I was disappointed with 45,000, to be honest with you. When I heard they'd had 40 last year, I mean, if we've took 11 with just the 2 British teams this year, you'd think you're 40 and 11's 51. And you'd have thought, not that it always works that way, well, it didn't work that way, but you'd have thought as well, as there's even more interest in Vegas, there'll be a lot of fans that went for the first time last year that wouldn't have seen RL before, and I would have thought, enjoyed it that much, they'd have given it another go. I thought crowds would have been swelled, I thought they'd have been well up. A bit disappointed really to hear there's only 45. Don't get me wrong, it's a start. I believe they're doing it for at least the next 3 years. It might be as many as the next 8 years. So it can only go one way, and I think they will go up year on year. Just disappointing it wasn't more. I wish it had been. And there is talk now of next year. I think the Brits are definitely going to have 2 teams there like they did this year. Warrington, as I said the other day, didn't do themselves a lot of good for next year because we'll want to be in it. I'm not sure we'll get an invite. But they're now mooting the idea of this World Club Challenge that happens most years, but not every single year, where we get the best from these isles that play the best from us. They are now talking about maybe having the fixture in Vegas next year, so we'd have an all-British game, and we'd have a representative from GB, Wigan, a representative from GB against the best in class in Australia. I hope it's not Wigan, by the way. So that could well happen. I also read today that all the clubs in the big league, in Super League, have been asked, given the chance, given the opportunity, would they like to be considered for Vegas next year? I think they can as an opinion and see who would like to play and who wouldn't, because I think Warrington and we're going to pay for it out of their own pockets, I think, and I'm guessing that's how it's going to be going forward, or at least at the moment. And they're asking clubs, is it anything that any of you can afford and want to be part of? So we'll see. I think we're going to probably going to be a few months until we know more. But I think if they do the 2 Aussie games and they give the British game 1 game and also the World Club Challenge 3 teams out there for something that wasn't our idea, I think that's not so bad for us, not so bad for our game at all. So we'll see. But yeah, crowds not bad. Viewing figures, I believe, brilliant. And crowds throughout the British game this weekend, very, very good. All very encouraging. Let's hope next year's bigger and even better. And let's hope that if Warrington do go, they perform better.